What's going on, you guys? This is Coach Ike, man from Authority Sports, and I want to get into this college football playoffs this first week. I want to discuss this, man. You guys tell me what y'all think. Comment below. I truly want to hear what you guys have to say. I really don't talk about these things publicly, but I do want to talk about this because I think it's very important because this has to do with the kids going forward, recruiting, and whatnot. So I'm going to touch on the two, maybe a third topic that was really big in these college playoffs. No, I'm not really going to talk about the selection as far as who is playing who. I don't think that stuff matters. Honestly, I believe you should win to get in. If you have a certain amount of losses, I don't believe you should be getting in. I don't care what conference you're in. Just win. That's the end of it. So let me break down kind of each game. So the Indiana Hoosiers played Notre Dame. Now, I was flying, so I didn't catch all of the game, but I did catch somewhat of a game. So I think that game came down to coaching. I don't think it came down to somebody's better than somebody else. Like, hey, that's always gonna happen. You have that in NFL, but coaching trumps that. You put your players in the best position. I don't think Indiana ever adjusted. We're gonna do what we do. Now, that can work depending with some teams, but if you're playing a more talented competition, which honestly I don't think Notre Dame is good. I don't think they're good at all. Please believe me. But at the same time, up front, the up front seven is different from Indiana. So I think that they Notre Dame never adjusted to what Notre Dame was doing. They never got out of that. At the same time, it also shows when you put so much on one player to make the plays, and if they do not execute at an efficient rate, then this can happen. And it happened in another game, and I'll get into that game. But I think that was the case with Indiana and Notre Dame. Notre Dame on their side, I think they were able to do their basic stuff, and it worked against the Notre Dame team. Like, they hardly brought pressure, and then when they did bring pressure, it was open. The quarterback just wasn't on point, which is fine. It's bound to happen. These are young men in these environment. Not everybody can play up to pressure that first time. I'm sure if he had another opportunity, he would be able to play better. But that sometimes those things happen. So I believe that was the case in the Indiana Notre Dame game. Just got out coached on Indiana's part. All right. So the second game, which was the SMU and Penn State game, I think this was the same thing. I think SMU got outcoached. I think they put everything on the hands of their quarterback. Now, I have not seen SMU all year. I watched one highlight of that Clemson SMU game, and I thought just everything was on the quarterback, like him making the plays and him doing the thing. Now, it's unfortunate that he threw two pick six. Just bad decision making, whatnot. At the end of the day, I still felt SMU had an opportunity if they would have scored that third interception where the linebacker or somebody, he tipped the ball in the air and got an interception. I felt like if SMU scored on that drive, they would be in the game because, in my opinion, Penn State did not look good. I forget what the final score was. I think it was 38-10 or something like that, or 3. Penn State scored 14 points on defense, and they really didn't do anything on offense. And we're talking about an SMU defense that was on the field most of the time. So, of course, they're going to give up some plays. Of course, they're going to get tired out. I always say good defense has a good offense. Okay, if offense is staying on the field, at least driving 2 or 3 times, giving your defense a breather, then the defense has an opportunity to at least stop them. But they kept getting 3 and outs, going for it on fourth downs, getting stopped short fields. So I don't think Penn State was good either in their showing, but SMU got outcoached, didn't adjust to anything that was going on as far as Penn State front seven was getting there. They were blitzing all the time. Now, SMU had a lot of receivers open, but once again, were you coaching up the quarterback to see these things? Were you able to adjust and like, look, here's the hots. Now, I don't know if those things were happening. I don't know if the quarterback was routed. I doubt that. I think it goes from quarterback to player. You can't put everything on a player now. All right. So Indiana, Notre Dame, SMU, Penn State, I think both of those came down to putting the ball in one particular person's hands at the same time being out coached. So let's get to Texas and Clemson. About this game. So I think, and everybody talks about this, I think Texas is one of the most complete teams. At the same time, their weakness is once they can no longer run the ball and they have to pass it, the quarterback, and I think he's actually good, but the quarterback, he makes poor decision making. So that's my only thing about Texas. Texas, they said they wanted to run the ball and they established the run. They did it efficiently. Now I miss how Clemson started making a comeback, but I felt like Texas was in control of that game from the beginning. At the same time, I think Clemson made some adjustments though. I think on their end, they said, okay, we have to adjust what we're doing offensively, which they did. And at the same time, I feel like they started to make some plays on defense. Now, Texas, they, like I said, I think they're going to struggle if they need to do a better job passing the ball more efficiently. So, Texas, Clemson, that were one of the better games that we had this weekend. And, you got two established coaches who have been there. As Steve Sarkisian, been at SC, played high level competition. He's in the SEC now, playing Georgia, so they understand it. And then you got Dabo, who has won championships at Clemson, so they understand adjustments and then how to put their players in the best position. So yeah, that's what it came down to those games. Now, getting into the Tennessee and Ohio State, I think once again coaching. That was the biggest thing, was coaching. Tennessee never adjusted. Honestly, and I've said this from the beginning, that offense really is nothing to like, oh, they do this. All they do is spread you out. And if you're able to get pressure and play man, which that is what Ohio State did against Tennessee, was pressure and blitz and play one-on-one, they stopped it. They shut it down. So for the coaches not to adjust to do anything, like they absolutely did nothing differently on offense. And yeah, they put up points when it didn't matter, though. You down 21-0, and then you finally score. Ohio State, they adjusted their offense. They came with a game plan. Now, I think Ohio State has a better coaching staff. That's why they won. And, I believe certain players, they have a better front four, front seven. At the same time, Ohio State, I think their issue is once their plays are not working, they no longer are able to adjust. But, we'll see in the next round how that works for them. They play Oregon again. So we talk about, oh, these teams should have been playing each other. The committee got it wrong. I don't believe that's the case. I think we see the disparity of coaching across the nation, where we're in these different leagues, where who's actually being coached up correctly, and then who's putting their kids in position. Don't get me wrong, there's more talented kids at other places, yes. But at the end of the day, there's talent wherever you go across the country. Coaching trumps, or coaching can put you in positions where you at least stay in the game. I say it constantly because I've seen it where in high school, there's De La Salle never truly had an offensive line, but at the same time, they went undefeated for so many years. They did that because of coaching. The coaching knew their players, created a system that worked for their system, for their players, and they won. Colleges, I've seen the same thing where coaches do not have all of the best talent, but they understand the strength and weaknesses of their players and put them in a position to win. Not all coaches are equal. So, where does this come in as far as a player? If I'm a player and I watch these playoffs, rather than listening to what everybody else is saying, I'm seeing if a coach is recruiting me, how do they adjust? How do they go forward? Like, does this continue to happen? Yes, they out of the playoffs, and then the following year, if they're talking to me and they keep doing the same thing, you're not getting developed then. You got to make sure you're going somewhere where you're being developed, because at the same time, when it comes to push to shove, right, are they going to help me get better to where I ultimately want to go, or be the player I ultimately want to be? Can that coach help me get there? And you truly have to watch that from a fine tune, not just from what the critics are saying, not what people are saying on social media, because honestly, not everybody understands this, but truly see it from a developmental part, and then seeing for your best future. So these are my thoughts on this first round of playoffs. You guys let me know what you guys think. I'm truly excited, and I want to hear what you guys have to say.